Hey, what's going on, guys? I am Jake from TodaysiPhone.com. Tomorrow is Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference, so naturally we have a ton of rumors and speculation about what we might see at the event, so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, now the first thing I want to tell you about is a story coming out of Mac Rumors. Now they're reporting that when iOS 5 goes live on our devices, one of the features we could see is automatic app updates. This would mean that when there's a newer version of an application available, your phone will just automatically update it as it sees fit, so you won't have to actually go into the App Store and manually update your applications. Now, evidence of this feature's existence comes directly from iTunes. A quote from the updates page reads, "Or if your device has automatic download enabled for apps, your updates will download to your device without having to sync." Now, as you can imagine, this is a very cool feature. As of right now, there is no word on whether this will work over 3G or Wi-Fi, or if it's 3G, what carriers will support it. If you remember, a couple weeks ago we reported on a deal between Apple and Verizon that could be in the works that would allow over-the-air updates for Verizon iPhones. This was not on the table for AT&T at the time, so I'd be interested to see how this automatic update for applications plays into this. Okay, moving right along, aside from the automatic app updates that could be coming our way, there are a number of other rumored features in iOS 5. One of them is a greater emphasis on social networking, and with Twitter in particular. There have been reports that Twitter could be built somehow into iOS. Now this could be anything from a send to Twitter button in the Photos application to deep integration within a ton of iOS features. Now with this in mind, Robert Scoble over at Rackspace sent out a very interesting tweet recently. He claims that next week will be huge for those of us who have lived on Twitter for the past few years, and that Apple is building Twitter deeply into iOS 5. Now this could mean anything from Twitter widgets to Twitter notifications to voice-activated tweets. It's really anybody's guess as of right now, but stories of Twitter integration within iOS 5 are coming from some pretty reputable sources, so I feel like it's safe to say that we will see some form of Twitter integration in the next iteration of iOS, which is definitely a plus because it shows that Apple is focusing more on the social networking aspect, which is something that most iDevice users utilize anyway, so to see that Apple is really capitalizing on that and giving users what they want is a good thing. Well, that's my opinion at least. How do you guys feel about this Twitter integration? Are you happy and excited that you could be connected to Twitter a bit easier, or do you think that we are connected enough as it is and you'd rather not see some Twitter integration into iOS? Or maybe you'd go a third option and rather have Facebook or some other social network integrated instead. Either way, let me know in the comment section down below. And while all of these things are pretty great, the one thing that I'm looking forward to more than anything from WWDC is a revamp of the iOS notifications. For me, what started out as a slight annoyance for the little blue pop-ups on my iPhone, quickly changed into a deep desire for a new and sleeker notification system. And I think it's the general consensus now that as far as notifications are concerned, Apple is way behind. So behind, in fact, that some developers have taken to rewriting the entire iOS notification system and providing it as a jailbreak alternative. Now, the guy behind one of the best jailbreak notification systems, called Mobile Notifier, is a man by the name of Peter Hodges. Hodges. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mobile Notifier is a super sleek and super easy to use free jailbreak tweak in Cydia right now, and in my opinion, it really does provide the level of notifications that we should be seeing on our iOS devices now. It's sleek, it's intuitive, it's unintrusive, it's easy to use, and that's probably why Apple took notice. News has been flying all over the web that Hodges has actually started to work for Apple, presumably to help fix the notification system. He sent out a cryptic tweet a couple days ago that was later deleted that said that he would be taking some time off of Mobile Notifier to work for a certain fruit company. Now, what concerns me is that Apple is just hiring this guy. If they're supposed to have some new revamp of the notification system ready for us to see and possibly download as early as tomorrow, shouldn't they have hired this guy like months ago? It's great to see that Apple is collaborating with more unconventional iOS developers, but at the same time, I really hope that they've had other people working on this before now, because if there is no new notification system at WWDC tomorrow, a lot of people are going to be very pissed off, and I feel that the jailbreak numbers will go way up. If there is no notifications, how do you feel about that? I've heard some people say that they are happy with the notifications now, but I think they are in the minority. Let me know your opinion in the comment section down below. Okay, moving on. A very interesting story is coming out of the Wall Street Journal this week. They're claiming that Apple will release the iPad 3 a couple months early, more specifically in time for the holiday season. But that's not all. They're saying that when the iPad 3 is released, it will not only sport a higher resolution display, but it will also be LTE capable. Now, I've already expressed my opinion about this in the post on TodaysiPhone.com, but I gotta say, I am just not buying this. I really don't see Apple pushing the time frame for the next iPad up, especially when the current iPad model is selling so well right now. What's more, enabling LTE on the iPad before the iPhone doesn't really make much sense to me. A lot more 4G phones are coming out now than tablets, and I think it's more important for Apple to stay competitive with the 4G phones first rather than the tablets, because they already have a huge percentage of the tablet market. Not to mention, 4G technology is relatively new, and to enable that on a device like the iPad, which will be so incredibly data intensive before they do it on something like the iPhone, which yes, is also very data intensive, but I feel that it is less so than the iPad, just because the iPad is more of a computing device rather than a mobile communication device. So I really can't see them, I don't know where I'm going with this. No, this is not gonna happen, I don't think. The iPad will come out in the March-February timeframe like it usually does, and it will probably sport a higher resolution screen, but I don't think it will be LTE capable. And finally, back to WWDC news. It is now official that Apple will be launching the iCloud service at WWDC. The iCloud service is basically like a online music storage thing that you can use to save your music in the cloud so it doesn't take up any memory on your device, and then you can access it from either Wi-Fi or 3G and stream your music right to any internet-enabled device. And even though we only have a couple more days, or one day now, to see the login screen for this new service, a website called Funky Space Monkey just couldn't wait and decided to leak what they are claiming is a screenshot of the login screen for iCloud. Now, there isn't really much to this. It's just a login screen, asks for your Apple ID and your password, and it has the iCloud logo. But this being WWDC season, even the smallest leaks are the biggest leaks, apparently. Now, there has been some speculation as to the validity of this leak. If you look at the iCloud logo from the leaked login screen and compare it to the logo from the publicity stuff for iCloud that Apple's been putting up, they don't quite match up. The cloud in one part is a little differently shaped. So it could mean that it's a fake, or it could mean nothing at all. But once again, we only have one more day to find out, thankfully. Alright, well that's it for today. Don't forget that the links to all of these stories I talked about are in the description down below, so go check those out. If you want to follow me on Twitter and talk to me, ask me some questions, or just share your opinions about the stuff I talked about today, you can do so at twitter.com/tipjake. And don't forget to come back to TodaysiPhone.com tomorrow, 10 a.m. Pacific time or 1 p.m. Eastern time. We will be providing live coverage of the event, and we will also be tweeting the major headlines on our official Twitter account at twitter.com/TodaysiPhone. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.